This
bikes.
conference will now be recorded.
Okay. Well, should I wait?
Oh, you're good. Continue.
Hello?
You can continue.
Yes, you may continue, Mary. Thank you.
Okay, the top of it is Save the Apple Tree Cul-de-sac. That's my heading on this letter. And we respectfully ask the Princeton Township Board to consider the following points for that potential new development. Okay, I'm talking about how in this short time we watched our neighbors and the children in our neighborhood living on Spruce Street and Apple Tree Drive who learned to ride their bikes and have now regularly ride their bikes to the cul-de-sac. Parents watch several houses away. There's a young handicapped man in a wheelchair who regularly exercises spring, summer, and fall from his home down on Spruce Street up to the cul-de-sac, knowing there's no traffic at times in the day from the current residents, and he'll be safe if he needs to rest. Across from my home, there's a basketball hoop. Teens play in this cul-de-sac because there are no cars zipping by. This happens all year long. There are 2 licensed daycare businesses, one on Apple Tree Drive and one on Spruce. There's no sidewalks. Small children go for walks and ride small trikes and bikes. The current street is safe and has no traffic. Kids are always supervised, but this activity will not continue if it becomes a thorough street. Before I retired, I served on the Central Minnesota Housing Partnership Board. This board serves 16 counties in central Minnesota to provide innovative, affordable housing to low-income and middle-income households. From this work experience, one must make careful consideration when thinking of combining these 2 neighborhoods. You might think this is crazy, but there's some research on this that says best practices in community development does not recommend blending $225,000 houses with $400,000 houses. Build your higher income houses on 2.5-acre lots, but make exits and entrances on the farm side of the trees. Keep foot traffic away from the established neighborhood. And then another point is, what assurances are there that current property lines will not be encroached by the new development? What current considerations are there for lowlands in the Princeton Preserve where water runoff is collected? Would these areas be filled in and then become housing sites? We now have clean air. Our wells provide enough water when we need it. Low traffic, no crime, and we know each other. We're a neighborhood that is safe to raise a family. Please respect our 16-year history and save Apple Tree Cul-de-sac. Respectfully submitted, Mary Kramer and my husband, Stephen Long.
Thank you, Mary.
Okay.
I don't know where that's coming from. I got a bird tweeting.
Yeah, it's weird. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any further citizens who wish to speak at open forum?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
This is Cindy McDonald. I came in a little bit late. I came at the end of Bill reading that letter. I didn't catch the beginning, but from what I did hear, it's interesting that that letter comes and it's talking about how few people are plugged into this meeting and how few people are able to get online. The little bit I read, and I'm only going with what I heard, so bear with me. And yet you're to make a decision tonight based on those details from the previous board members who actually never had Zoom meetings and never had meetings with many residents attending. what concerns me is that you would make that decision tonight because they send you a letter. I believe that this should last longer. It should be posted to the public as a public notice. And because it's concerning this online only, it should go in publish, and it should be slowed up a little bit so that everybody that they're concerned about in this letter has an opportunity to respond. That's my opinion, and I look forward to actually reading the beginning of the letter. It's my fault that I wasn't there early enough. I had things in my own family I had to deal with, but that's my opinion, is that this previous board has not been contemporary enough to handle the details of what this current board has been handling with the internet and all the new technology that you people have done an extraordinary job with. And I feel strongly that you need to send this on to another month so that more people who they're concerned about notifying are also included. That's my comment. Thank you.
Other citizens who wish to speak?
Yes. Hello.
Hello?
Hello. This is Marcia
Go ahead.
Anderson. This is Marcia Anderson. And I would just like to say that I feel that government should not stop functioning for the citizens. And that there, as Cindy said, you have found opportunities in which to continue to function and allow residents to participate if they so choose. As we all know, many residents did not historically choose to participate, and we had a very closed government situation with very little transparency. This is fully transparent, and I appreciate all the work the board has been doing over the last couple of years to bring that about for the residents of this township. Thank you.
Thank you. And anybody else wish to speak? Anybody else wish to speak? If nobody else wishes to speak, I will close the open forum. Next item of business would be to approve the meeting minutes of the November 17th regular meeting. Is there any additions, corrections, deletions, changes? If not, I would accept the motion to approve the minutes of the Tuesday, November 17th meeting.
Thomas Duden, I would move to accept the minutes.
Thomas Student has made a motion to accept the minutes of the November 17th meeting. Is there a second?
Dan Hiller, I'll second that.
Dan Hiller has seconded the motion. Motion has been made and seconded to approve the minutes of the November 17th regular board meeting. Is there any further discussion? Is there any further discussion? If not, we will proceed to vote. All in favor of the motion to approve the meeting of the November 17th regular board, signify by saying, we'll do a roll call. Mr. Duden?
Aye.
Mr. Hiller?
Aye.
Aye. Mr. Whitcomb?
Aye.
And Mr. Wilhelm?
Aye.
Motion is carried. We'll move on to the clerk treasurer's reports.
Doug, are you wanting to see that cash control statement up on the screen now?
Yes, please. The November 30. Okay, everyone should have gotten this cash control statement. Fairly straightforward. I did want to make one comparison here. We have received the tax settlement from the county. So I created a second cost control statement to compare. This is the one from November 30th. Shows our ending balances in fourth column. And if we have the other one, it'll show how that will change. The second one will show the way it's going to look at the end of the year. You can see if you look at the deposits in transit, that is the tax, mostly the tax settlement. So the ending balance in the fourth column there would be more representative of what you can expect to go into the new year with. Any questions on any of this?
Doug,
No,
Dan
Doug,
Miller, your cash control statement you were just talking about, that's the one that's labeled 12/14/20, or?
Now, if you look on the left where the period, this one shows 11/1 to 12/31. So that includes this shows the deposits in transit there. That's the tax settlement. So if you look at the ending balances there in that document, that'll show you, that's a pretty fair representation of what will be available going into the new year. There will be some minor changes with that all of this will clear, and that will be a pretty close representation. This isn't an official report. I just wanted to be able to show what the tax settlement is how that's going to affect the balances at the end of the year.
And caution, it maybe looks a little bit rosier than it might be because we do have some escrows that would be in limbo. But that's roughly where we're going to be at the end of the year is the 472. 500 or 757.
Yeah. Now that would be if some of those escrows may be requested to be returned. We have to determine the status of those escrows. So as it stands right now, they're still active.
Any more questions about the cash control statement?
I believe we're actually waiting on another escrow too, so there might be something that's going back into there also. Is that correct?
Yes, yeah, we're working that out and Silver Lake Oaks.
Okay.
Are there any further questions? If not, I accept a motion to accept the cash control statement. Is there a motion to accept the cash control statement?
Thomas Duden, I would move to accept it.
Motion's been made by Thomas Duden. Is there a second?
I'd second that.
That was
Bill
Bill.
Whitcomb.
Bill Whitcomb, second motion.
Mr. Chairman,
Motion.
I want to make sure that members understand that the one that's being approved is the November 30th. That the, yeah. That is because the other one is projected. This is an actual cash control.
Okay. So the motion has been made and seconded to accept the cash control statement for the period ending 11/30/2020. Is there any further discussion? If there is no further discussion, we'll proceed to vote by roll call again. Mr. Duden,
Aye.
Mr. Hiller,
Aye.
Mr. Sokol is aye, Mr. Whitcomb,
Aye.
and Mr. Wilhelm.
Aye.
Motion is carried. We will accept the cash control statement. Next item is the November payroll.
I'm wondering, does everybody have this stuff in front of them? If I'm not able to find it right away.
Did everyone receive that report?
I'd moved the motion to accept it, looking through everything earlier this afternoon.
Motion has been made to accept the November payroll by Mr. Hiller. Is there a second?
No, Gene, that was Duden that made that motion.
Well, I'm sorry. Motion been made by Thomas Duden. Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second that motion. Dan
Is there
Hiller.
a second? Dan Hiller seconds the motion. Is it, motion has been made and seconded to accept the November payroll report. Is there any further discussion? Okay, there are two different copies, so we understand. We are approving the one that says net pay account distribution.
Okay, yep, I see it now.
So there's no question. Is there any further discussion, questions, responses? If not, we'll proceed to vote on the November payroll account distribution. Once again, roll call. Mr. Duden, Mr. Duden? Did I lose him?
Looks like he's muted.
Okay, Mr. Hiller,
Aye.
Mr. Sokol is aye, Mr. Whitcomb,
Aye.
Mr. Wilhelm,
Aye.
and we have Mr. Duden. If not, I will accept the motion as carried for the November payroll account distribution. Those two both have to be basically signed off on. So since we have done a roll call, we in lieu of people having to come in and sign them, we have now considered them to be approved. Claims for approval is the next item of business. As you can see, there are 3 pages.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
I wanted to point out one point here. Is most of it is fairly routine, repetitive stuff. But if you look on the first page, there's a check to the city of Princeton, $27,470, looks like. That's for the fire contract. So that's the big one. That's what pushed it up, made it a larger number there. So
yes,
that's the second half.
okay. Any other questions, concerns, discussion, comments? And again, we need council approval. Is there a motion to accept the claims for approval?
John Wilhelm, I'll make that motion.
And a motion has been made for accepting claims list for approval. Is there a second?
Dan Hiller, I'll second that motion.
And Dan Hiller seconds the motion. Is there any further discussion on that motion? If there is no further discussion, we will vote on the motion to approve the claims for approval. Again, roll call. Mr. Duden, are you back with us? If not, Mr. Hiller?
Aye. Aye.
Okay, who was that?
That was Thomas.
That was Thomas and Dan, okay.
Aye.
Stokel votes yes. Whitcomb,
Aye.
aye, and Wilhelm.
Aye.
Motion is carried, and again, because we have the voice vote, we will not have to find a way to get that out to people to sign. Next item is the Schlenner, Wenner and Company engagement letter. Basically, we approved it last month or 2 months ago. They're locking in their amount for the next 3 years, or at least for this year, and they're proposing for the next 2 years. I don't know if we have to really do anything with it other than to see that we have officially engaged them to be our auditor for the 2020 business year. Mr. Dahl, do we need a motion to do anything with this?
No, we do not. It was approved last month to.
I think, okay, sorry. If you look on page 3, I believe at the top of page 3, it gives or is it top 4, page 4? It gives the amount they're proposing for the next 3 years. It's, I believe, 6,800 and 7,100 and 7,400, I believe it is, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, 6,800 for 2020, 7,100 for 2021, and 7,400 for 2022. And our previous auditor had gone up considerably above that. So we've saved the township at least.
I think they were close to 10 or 11,000.
I think they were 10,000 and then 10,500 and 11, I think, for the next 3 years. So, okay, we can move on. Midco franchise request resolution declining to regulate. And this is just from Midco transmission line, and all we have to do is basically sign off that we are not going to be the regulating agency. We've done this for a number of years. If it's a simple resolution to relieve ourselves of the responsibility of overseeing them. there any discussion?
What type of, has this come before us in the past?
Yes. And I believe it's just works better for the township to just basically stay out of it, because otherwise we're gonna have to be out there with our engineer watching everything they do, and it doesn't really change anything that we're doing other than costing us money.
Gene, Dan Hiller, if the board's not regulating them, who is? I've never encountered this, so this is a first for me, so I apologize if that's a dumb question.
I think it's this Minnesota, I'm not sure, but I'm sure the county has some oversight, but then I believe it's mostly state and the FCC. Yeah, Federal Communications. Does anybody have any input into that? I'm kind of, it's just something we've always kind of had to go through.
It still allows us to, any improvements they make to infrastructure, i.e. cell phone towers, we still have control over that, correct?
Yes. Yeah, so our ordinance limits cell towers and so on. Yes. This does not supersede any of our regulations.
I would move the motion to I'd move the motion for Midco's request.
So the motion is made to decline regulating Midco. And that was made by Mr. Duden?
Yes, that was Thomas.
Okay, and is there a second?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
there's a resolution connected with this. And people should, members should see the resolution. That is, that's what's in question. And the motion should be to adopt the resolution if that's the will of the town board.
So the resolution here says declining to regulate cable division system.
Yeah, if you see the fourth whereas, I believe that kind of explains why.
So we're looking to approve resolution 2020-33, correct, Doug?
Yeah.
That is correct.
Thomas, do you want to?
I would
Your
withdraw my
motion?
motion and I would recast the motion to approve 2020-33.
That
Dan
was
Hiller.
also Thomas?
Yeah, that was Thomas. Dan Hiller seconds.
Okay, motion has been made and seconded to approve resolution 2020-33, resolution declining to regulate cable television system in Princeton Township. Is there any further discussion? If somebody wishes to look into this greater depth, so when it comes up again next year or 2 years from now, we have a better understanding of what it means, and certainly be my guest. Is there any further discussion? Is there any further discussion? If not, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor of the motion to resolution declining to regulate cable television systems, 2020-33. Mr. Duden,
Aye.
Mr. Hiller,
Aye.
Mr. Stokel's aye, Mr. Whitcomb,
Aye.
and Mr. Wilhelm.
Aye.
Next item is zoning administrator's report. Mr. Richards, are you
Yes.
available?
Yes, Mr. Chair, this is Scott Richards. This item in front of you is the amendment to the comprehensive plan to add language related to the Great Northern Trail and to adopt a future land use map. The town board has looked at this before. You reviewed it at your November 17th meeting, and the planning commission had held a public hearing at their November 9th meeting. That meeting was held at the town hall. In fact, both those two meetings I just referenced were at the town hall. Essentially what this does is adding additional language to the comprehensive plan within it, the trails section, talking a little bit more about the Great Northern Trail Corridor, and also indicating that the town board would look at utilizing this for any type of, or utilizing their park funds for any type of research or actual development of the trail if that moves forward. The planning efforts are underway right now for that trail. And much of the language that we're proposing just to add to the comprehensive plan comes from a draft from Mille Lacs County. I've also been in contact with the parks person from Sherburne County, Gina, who has indicated that that process is going. They're going out for an RFP to do the initial stages of planning for that. So it makes sense that we add this language just supporting the Great Northern Trail in our comprehensive plan. Secondly, as part of this, there's a future land use map that we'll be adopting. The future land use map reflects exactly the zoning map. So the categories, land use categories for the land use map are identical to the zoning districts, which actually that's the way it should be, and that's what the actual text of the comprehensive plan reflects. So again, there is a ordinance that has been put in place and that you have in front of you, and then a summary resolution. So you could act on this in one motion for the ordinance and then approve that if you wish to tonight. And then secondly, the resolution for publication. This is a different situation than I think what Mark and some of the other callers were talking about. The Planning Commission is also moving forward with looking at some potential zoning and land use changes to Section 27. There hasn't been a public hearing for that. There has been some discussion on it, and really from the last Planning Commission meeting, it doesn't look like they want to move forward with what Scott Moeller is proposing anyway. So, two separate items, so just so there isn't any confusion. But what you're looking at tonight is just related to the Great Northern Trail, and then finally adopting a future land use map, which I don't see that the township has had since the comprehensive plan was first developed. So with that, any questions?
Okay, I do.
In particular, that
This will absolutely change nothing as far as our land use map.
Absolutely does not. No, it reflects exactly what the zoning map says. So there's no wholesale land use changes as part of this.
So if we were to adopt this, we would be passing resolution 2020-32 and ordinance number 2020-4.
That's correct.
Okay. Any discussion? And once again, the summary language is fairly extensive, I believe. So the first one is just approving the summary language so we don't have to read 25 pages.
Right. I would ask first the town board members to approve the ordinance and the 2020-4, and then adopt the resolution. And essentially, the resolution just allows us to publish the summary and not the entire ordinance.
And you wish the ordinance would go first?
Yes, take the ordinance first, please.
Is there a motion to accept the ordinance amending language in the Princeton Township Comp Plan related to the Great Northern Trail and to adopt the future land use plan, which basically just puts.
Thomas Duden, I would move the motion to adopt the ordinance.
Thomas Duden has made the motion to accept the ordinance number 2020-4. Is there a second?
John Wilhelm, I'll second that.
A motion has been made to accept the ordinance amending language in the township comp plan related to the Great Northern Trail and to adopt a future land use plan. Is there any further discussion?
Scott, this is Dan Hiller. I know we've talked about it before, but this does not commit us to the Great Northern Trail. We can still opt out and go a different route if we so choose, correct?
Absolutely. The language is pretty open. It just more or less says that the township may choose to, in specific in terms of the funding mechanisms, that let's say Mille Lacs County comes to us and said we want some funds for this. That's really up to the town board whether or not they do it. What it does say though is that for those developers who have committed park dedication funds, it does show in our comprehensive plan that we have a plan to use those funds for something specifically, but it doesn't tie us to it.
Very good. Thank you.
Is there any further discussion, questions? If there is no further discussion, we will proceed to vote. All in favor of the motion to accept ordinance number 2020-4. I will call roll call again. Mr. Duden?
Aye.
Mr. Hiller?
Aye.
Mr. Stokel's aye. Mr. Whitcomb?
Aye.
And Mr. Wilhelm?
Aye.
Motion is carried. We will adopt ordinance number 2020-4, amending language. We will now discuss resolution number 2020-32, approving summary language for the publication of the ordinance change. Is there any discussion on the resolution that's on your paperwork? It's right above the ordinance. Is there any discussion? I would entertain a motion to accept resolution number 2020-32.
I'm assuming this is what Mark Riverblood's letter was. It was in
No.
reference to 2020-32, the land use map, correct?
No, this is just a resolution so we don't have to publish 8 pages in the newspaper.
Okay, sorry.
So we have a summary language for publication of the ordinance we just passed relating to the trail and to the adopt future land use. It does not have anything to do with changing the land use in 27 and 32.
I move the motion to pass resolution number 2020-32.
And that's Mr. Wilhelm.
Dan Hiller, I'll second that.
That was Mr. Wilhelm made the motion.
Correct.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded to approve resolution number 2020-32, approving summary language for publication in Princeton comp plan relating to the Great Northern Trail and to adopt a future land use plan. Is there any further discussion? And again, this is just so we don't have to publish whatever number of pages it would be. This way we can just give a summary, the couple paragraph summary. And the motion or the ordinance will be posted in the towns, well, in full in the land use map, and we'll be contacted, we'll be here at the town hall. Is there any further discussion? If there is no further discussion, we'll proceed to vote. Mr. Duden?
Aye.
Mr. Hiller?
Aye.
Mr. Stokel's aye. Mr. Whitcomb?
Aye.
And Mr. Wilhelm?
Aye.
Motion's carried. Mr. Richards, back to you.
Yes, the only other thing that I would have, again, just to emphasize that in January, the Planning Commission will again take a look at the Section 27 and Section 34 and discuss further whether any land use changes would be. I indicated before that the Planning Commission didn't seem very positive about allowing any changes to the zoning or comp plan in that area. I haven't had a chance to talk to Mr. Moeller yet, but I'm going to see what he has to say. And that also the caller previously with the potential connection to Apple Tree Drive. Again, that's in Section 27 and some of the plans that Mr. Moeller has very preliminary given us. So just wanted to make sure that that's a different matter, and the Planning Commission will again discuss it at the January meeting. But there's no public hearing advertised and no official action that's going to be taken. They'll be looking at it probably and probably be giving you a recommendation in January. So that is all I have. The other two items, I believe, Todd will fill us in on the status updates of Wood Push and Silver Lake Oaks.
Thanks, Scott. I guess I don't exactly know if the board is looking for some specific items, but I can give a little general overview on what this development has been, how it's proceeded, and also this kind of the same thing for Silver Lake Oaks. Woods Push lot, the final plat was approved in August. And I think shortly after that, the developer's agreement was signed and executed. From then on, the contractor has proceeded to go out and grade the road. This again is that one little short gravel road that we're extending into the plat with a T-type turnaround at the end. And as far as I know, there's three different security amounts that the developer is required to submit to the township. And technically, per the developer's agreement, you're supposed to submit those prior to any start of construction. I think the letter of credit has been received. I think the cash escrow has been received. I don't know if the park dedication amount of $4,800 has been received yet in this. You know, Doug, by chance?
Let me give a quick look at that. I don't think I'll look it up.
Okay, so in any case, again, I think the township needs to be a little bit tougher with these developers in getting their money prior to construction activities. A couple weeks ago, we got a call that the road has been completed, and we didn't know anything about it, so we went up there, and sure enough, they had proceeded to grade the road. It was in sort of a disarray. Things had been graded, piles of dirt here and there. The road looked soft, and we talked to Jesse, the developer, about that, and put together a little field report for him and some items, punch list items for him to take care of. We got a call, I think it was Friday, and last Friday that he's on it. He was going to get his contractor back up there and take care of that stuff. I just got a call from Mike, our inspector, today. The Jesse had said that they were working on the road today and they're getting everything cleaned up. Well, we haven't seen it yet, so that's where that's at. So I'm not exactly sure. To me, the next steps in this case is to, once we look at this road, when the contractor gets done, we'll approve it for acceptance to start the warranty period. At that time, the developer is supposed to request a reduction in the letter of credit, which we will review and approve. If you want me to proceed with that on my own, I can. Otherwise, the developer is supposed to ask for that. And that project really would be wrapped up at that point.
As far as I can see, Todd, I don't see any escrows for either Push Lot or Silver Lake Oaks.
I believe Doug had mentioned to me earlier that the letter of credit of $38,812 had been paid in November. The cash escrow of $3,105 had been paid in November, but I don't know about the park dedication amount. So Doug will have to just verify that. But in any case, go ahead, Doug.
Sorry. Yeah, no park dedication, but we did get the escrow, as you stated, for those two items.
Okay, what I would recommend that the township do then is hold any building permits until they get those fees paid and get up to date on that. So any other questions about Woods Push Lot at all from anyone?
Todd, this is Dan Hiller. Who normally keeps track of that stuff to make sure we're getting our fees and everything, for our park dedication fee? I mean, I'm guessing we're kind of going into uncharted territory for our township, so we got to make sure who's actually supposed to be watching that stuff to make sure we're getting that.
Yeah, I agree with you. The first time we've had a project like this in a long, long time, and everybody's new in the game here. I guess the developer should drop off checks for Doug or put them in the mail or something. So he'll have to set up accounts, and I don't know how you do that in your accounting system if you have separate accounts for each of these items to keep track of and stuff. So I guess that's where it would go.
Okay. And Woods Push Lot, that was allowed to be platted as a cul-de-sac, but the road was actually required to be built with the hammerhead, correct? So we're still within all of our ordinances and everything up there?
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah, I had a question on that, and that's what I thought, so I just wanted to verify that. That's all I had.
Yeah, if you go down there, it's a hammerhead.
Yeah, I went out and walked it and everything. I just wanted clarification for that in the meeting.
And you've received all the tickets for inspection on the gravel amounts?
Yes, we have.
Okay. Quantities all checked good?
Yep.
Okay.
Just need to get it shaped up and compacted and made into a real gravel road. So we'll keep an eye on it.
Thank you, Todd. Is there any further questions for Todd?
I think he was I don't know if he touched on Silver Lake Oaks yet. Were you gonna go into that one?
Yeah, I need to do that. Again, Silver Lake Oaks is that 20, I think it's 24 lot subdivision. I think that was approved back in June, and again, same deal. The developer's agreement was executed shortly after. As far as I know today, the township has not received any letter of credit. That was $548,701. Has not received the cash escrow of $21,948, but they did receive the $32,700 for the park dedication and seal coat fees. So Again, we let the contractor start. I remember, we had a pre-con meeting out there. It was October and it was getting late, and let's hurry up and get things done because you're running out of time. And we let it go. The road's built, the road's paved. It looks nice. There's half a dozen homes already started to be built out there. So again, we need to clamp down and not process any further building permits until Jesse gets up to date on his developer's agreement, and which I think he's in violation of. So
Todd?
So we haven't got anything from Jesse on the Silver Lake Oak project yet either.
we've received, as far as I know, the $32,700 for the park dedication and seal coat, but we have not received the other two security amounts.
Can we serve him a cease and assist letter until we receive them funds?
I don't know how you're going to stop all the entities building houses, but certainly
I don't know what the obligation on the township is there. I mean, it sure seems like, we're allowing some developing, and sure kind of looks like we're dropping the ball here a little bit. I mean, I don't know what we got to do to correct this, but it's probably corrected.
Mr. Chair, this is Scott Richards. There was actually, Doug sent over a couple of building permits for me to review today. And Doug, we should just hold on those. It was my understanding that all the dollar amounts had been paid and that we were good to go, but apparently that's not the case. So no more building permits until we get those funds, and that should grab their attention pretty fast.
well, in the future, we shouldn't even be signing these final plats. I mean, we should hold the final plat up until those fees are paid.
Yeah,
So
I agree.
it's a future deal.
Mr. Chair,
I'm
this
not
is Jason.
quite sure where you could, what was the number that you gave us, Todd?
The letter of credit amount is $548,701.38.
But then you
And
said that their park dedication fee and their escrow and seal coat was how much had they given?
the cash escrow is $21,948.06. And these are all in the developer's agreement. And the township fees, which includes the park dedication seal coat, is $32,700. That's the one that we have received.
Okay. But according to what I see as our cash control statement, their ending balance on their escrow is only $191.
Yeah, they haven't paid nothing. Those escrow amounts is what the township uses to pay my bill for inspection and administration, for Doug's time and Jason's time for the attorney. I mean, that's where that money comes from. The township doesn't pay for us to do that. It all comes from the developer. And so I don't know what the township is using to pay it, but that's what that's for. The letter of credit is for securities in case he gets half done with the project and decides to quit and walk off. The township now has funds to complete the project if they so desire. Again, the letter of credit, 25% when the road is completed, which it is. So yeah, he pays it. We give most of it back anyways, but he never paid it in the first place. So, but it's a good learning lesson for us. So.
Mr. Chair, this is Jason Hill. If I could interject.
Yeah, yes, Jason.
Yeah, I would just follow up, and kind of reaffirm what Todd had said too. I think, you guys are going through this kind of the first time in this first round. I would just stress, going back to what Dan Hiller had said too, each development agreement has a unique set of kind of preconditions that have to be met before the project is supposed to start, including the letter of credit. But there's also other little unique ones. There were some I know specific for Silver Lake Oaks. And, it's not necessarily one person that handles all that. it might be the clerk, demonstrating that certain payments have been made, or the engineer or legal counsel, or it could be various people, but ultimately the township would issue a written notice that they can proceed. We're down the road on this one. I think, per the development agreement, the town must retain at least 25% of the letter of credit until the project is complete. I would recommend, if 25%, the current 25% amount, I'm not a math wizard, I can't do that in my head, but if the 25% of the original letter of credit amount is sufficient to, because the road is pretty much, it sounds like done, at least the first course, and, is in good shape, there's no real issues there. You would just want to retain enough to complete the project, or clean it up if things happen between now and the final completion and acceptance of the construction. So I would, we can certainly send a letter saying that we need the 25% letter of credit, we need all the other fees, and withholding everything else until those are received.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Who was that?
This is Todd. I agree with that. At this point, there's no point in collecting 500,000. Let's just 25% of that, which is 137,000. That's more than enough to secure the project for the 2-year warranty.
Yeah, and per the agreement, you have to retain at least 25%. So I wouldn't want to go below that. And like you say, most of it'll, it's just a letter of credit. It's not, income to the town. It's just a protection for the town.
Yep. Yep.
One of the questions I've had is, when we're carrying an escrow, how do we determine what each of you, would be the attorney, the engineer, and the owning, how much of that, of what we're getting billed for, gets sent to each of those, the Wood Push Lot development and Silver Lake Oaks and Studebaker and whatever? It's kind of like we really are guessing at how much of that escrow is being used by each of these, of the different professionals. Is there a way to break this down better?
Mr. Chair, this is Jason Hill. I can certainly work with our billings to figure that out. I would say in the future, what I will do is, what I typically do for townships is have a separate account for, any type of development or, cartway or anything else that is going to have an escrow or amounts paid by a township resident. Create when I bill the township, I'll bill that under a separate account number so that it's easy to pull that out. I will do that in the future, but if that is necessary here, I can certainly go back and, and put that information together for those purposes.
And for me, Gene, this is Todd.
Going forward, I think it would be a lot easier for our bookkeeping to have it.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to go back and break it down ancient history or whatever, but going forward, I think it would really help our bookkeeping system to know this many minutes or whatever were devoted to Silver Lake Oaks or whoever.
Gene, this is Todd. Yeah, I send separate invoices for each project, so it's all itemized.
Okay.
Sarah, this is Scott Richards. I also do a separate billing for each of those, and there is a $5,000 escrow payment that's made for each of these subdivision developments. So that's what Todd and Jason and my fees have been drawing down from. So Doug keeps that separate, and so we've been covered, I believe, with that original $5,000 for both the Woods Push and Silver Lake Oaks.
And then at the end of the day, when the project is done and it's all approved, then what's ever left in that escrow account does get returned back to the developer. So,
Yes.
Yes.
so that's all I got on Silver Lake Oaks.
Going forward, we still haven't quite figured out what we're going to do with Silver Lake Oaks. If we're sitting way short of what they should be.
Well, we
Putting
have.
it-
We're not gonna process any more building permits until they get caught up. That's what I think we decided to do.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
And I can send a letter documenting that, as well as the, being to be brought up current on any fees and the 25% letter of credit.
Thank you all. Is there any discussion from the board? Any more questions, comments from the board about the status updates on the developments?
I think they've answered my questions.
Okay, thank you. If there is no further business concerning zoning administrators reports and Mr. McLuth, sorry, Todd, butchered your name. We'll move on to old business, approve the aware compliance report. If you all got a copy of it today, the first 2 pages gives the purpose, general policy, goals, objectives, responsibilities, identification of hazards and communication. Just so we all understand what we're looking at, if we look at page 3 or the actual annual review page, I guess I will go through them one by one and
Say Doug, Gene, sorry, this is Bill Whitcomb.
Yeah.
I just was hoping that when you're done with that, I had talked to Ken Henshin, and I believe he was going to give us an update on where things are at too, just so that we're all comfortable with where the program is after you go through this list. Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay.
Maybe I should get comment from him first. Is Ken available?
We'll give him a second to unmute his mic and those types of things.
Yes, I'm here. This is Ken.
Yeah, Gene Stokel, was just asking you if the AWARE program, we have 7 questions. I don't know if you've seen the 7 questions and you've seen our 2-page document from MAT, the Information Library Workplace Aware Accident and Injury Reduction Program. I guess I'm just going to go through the 7 questions, and if anybody has any discussion or wants to point out any deficiency, I think you just holler it out. Otherwise, we'll just discuss it at the end. All township officers and employees are aware of the program and their responsibilities under it. Does anybody see any shortcomings in this? Number 2, in addition to the ongoing attention paid by officers and employees to potential hazards in the workplace, an annual inspection of the workplace has been completed. And I think a number of us have been through this workplace, and we've, Ken has worked very hard to get us in compliance and things that we had really been lacking in the past. Is there any discussion on 2? There is no further. We'll move on to 3. Potential hazards, if any, identified throughout the year and at the annual inspection have been analyzed and corrected in an appropriate manner. I think we've spent some time and effort, and I know certainly Mr. Henshin has done a wonderful job of getting rid of our shortcomings. Any comments, questions? If not, we'll move on to.
Kenny I know we were able to run down and get the chemical, the fire box for any flammables. We just were able to pick that up last week at a greatly reduced price from the home improvement store. So that was, I'm glad we were able to get that taken care of.
And I see that was on our list of claims.
Yes.
Thank you. Number 4, accidents, if any, which occurred in the year have been investigated according to the procedure set out in the program, and any needed correction actions have been taken. I don't believe we had any accidents that needed reporting. If so, somebody should tell me or report it to the board so we understand. Number 5, any enforcement action needed to uphold the goals and objectives of the program have been taken in accordance with the program and any other established procedures. Any discussion, questions, comments? If not, number 6, the language of the AWARE program, including goals and objectives, has been reviewed in light of the activities and experiences occurring over the year. Again, any comments, questions? Number 7, any needed changes in the program have been identified and implemented or assigned to a specific person with a plan for obtaining additional information and implementing any needed changes. Any further comments on that? If not, before we discuss or make a motion to accept our AWARE review, Mr. Henson, would you comment?
Well, so far, I think we've done everything right. As each different case comes up with things that we need, we take care of what we need and bring it before the board and get it approved, and we move on.
Thank you, sir. Are there any comments by any of the board members or anybody else who wish to comment about what we've done with the AWARE program this year? If not, I would entertain a motion to accept and approve our AWARE program.
This is Bill Whitcomb. I move a motion to accept the Workplace Accident Injury Reduction Program.
Mr. Whitcomb has made a motion to accept the annual review of the Workplace Accident and Injury Reduction Program. Is there a second?
John Wilhelm, I'll second that.
Motion has been made and seconded to approve the Workplace Accident and Injury Reduction Program. Is there any further discussion? If there is no further discussion, we will proceed to vote. All in favor of accepting the AWARE program compliance report signify by, or roll call. Mr. Duden, are you back with us? We'll move on to Mr. Hiller.
Aye.
Mr. Stokel's aye. Mr. Whitcomb.
Aye.
And Mr. Wilhelm.
Aye.
And Mr. Duden. Well, regardless, we have a motion that has been made, seconded, and approved to approve our AWARE compliance report. We'll move on to supervisors' reports. Road report, Mr. Whitcomb.
Okay, let me get to this. So just reporting that there were 2 stop signs stolen. Appears to have happened. The first one was one that I had discovered out on 40th Street and 50th Avenue, owned by the Township. It was replaced by me that same day that I found it. Another one was reported by Mr. Roxbury that there was a stop sign at 40th and County Road 1, which was owned by the county. They went out, I believe that within a few hours. I had talked to Kevin, he's usually who I call with the county, and they had put up a sign. So when I called him, he said that there's been a lot of signs that have been stolen lately. And I don't know if people are selling the aluminum or what's going on there, but we need to be keeping an eye out for that and missing signs. He had said that when they went out there to place that temporary sign, because they weren't going to be able to get to it till the next day, that sign that they had put out that evening was thrown in a ditch by somebody. So I don't know exactly what's going on, but someone doesn't like stop signs, I guess. I don't know. So that was the situation on that one. One thing I wanted to make clear on some of these things, there seems to be a lot of misinformation going on around about who owns what signs and all those types of things and who's responsible. So what I've got here for our sign plans, just to make everybody aware, this is a policy and a plan that came together in 2008. 2009 is when they were installed. It was a federal grant money. So we got federal money, we got county money, and we invested about $4,000, I believe it was. That grant money kind of daylight or sunsets after 10 years. So we're past that 10-year sunset. I spoke with Derek Luer. He works for the state. A guy run into the hallways all the time when I was done, still working in the office. So that's the information I had received from him. But if you're looking at, for example, the North plan, this is a plan set that we received from the county back in 2008, 2009. You'll see in the upper right-hand corner here, this map was updated by me, and it's in accordance with Resolution 20-14 for the Princeton Township traffic policy. And you'll see down here, this is just an excerpt from the documentation that we received when we did these sign plans, that the county signs are not the responsibility of the township and should be disregarded and crossed off of the original mapping. The statement is found in the Township Annual Sign Maintenance and Inspection Program instructions for Township. So these were instructions that were given to the township 12 years ago. That's on page 1. So all the maps, all the signs that have the X's on them, I went through and like I said, I updated this map. So all of these signs are signs that we are not responsible for. Signs that were removed in 2020 in accordance with the resolution are represented by the symbol on the map. So anything that was checked, has a check mark in it, are ones that we removed with our sign policy. So the one that was reported by the county, I don't know if those of you can see it or not, but I'm going to zoom in kind of tight here. This is kind of an educational thing for people if they're not used to looking at these things. But this was at 40th Street, and this is County Road 1 that runs north and south. Everybody can see this here. That's sign number 484. In that list that we received from the county is a list of who owns what signs. So at the bottom, we're the last one for some reason. I don't know why. But if you look closely at 484, that's a county sign. So rumors are going around that we're not taking care of our signs. That is not the case. This is a county sign. This is the county's responsibility, and that's it's spelled out pretty clearly in the documentation that we received when we got that grant money. As it relates to the other one that I spoke about, that I replaced, that was this sign right here, sign 478. Let's see here. I don't want to go back to that one, sorry. I've lost my place here. There we go. So sign 478, is right here. That is ours. That's a Princeton sign. That's why I replaced it. So just keep that in mind as people start hearing rumors that we're not taking care of our signs. We are. I'd actually like to send this map out. Maybe the supervisors, each one of you could print this out. So as you're out looking at roads and you see signs missing, let me know. I'll get a hold of dispatch. I can either call Kevin directly or dispatch 911 dispatch, and they'll get the information to the county, and they'll get somebody out there to replace the signs, just so they're aware of it. Let's see. Any questions on this part of the road review or road report? Any supervisors have questions?
There are a couple signs that were on the south half that were never installed. Were they?
Oh, yeah, there's a lot here that signs, and that's on the list. It was part of the original list, and it was some that were actually removed. If you see down here on the bottom right-hand corner. So those were in their initial list were either to be removed or they weren't installed. And some of those show up here. Signs that appear to have never been installed have this symbol. So anything with the black X are the signs that were never installed.
And they need to be?
No, that was just part of that was something that was decided, I guess, when the signs were originally installed in 2008, 2009.
So Bill, this is Todd.
Go ahead, Todd.
So they shouldn't have shown those on the map, is what the
Yeah, I would agree.
Whatever.
With that. Yeah. and going through this, there was a lot of inconsistencies with the old map. I mean, I'm not going to get into the detail on it right now. We can talk about it at a working meeting or something like that if you'd like to, but yield signs in areas where there's identical situations in other parts of the township where we didn't have yield signs, or another perfect example, and I said I wasn't going to go into it, but I'll go into it. This sign right here, sign 332, there's not a through street here, and there's a stop sign, so there's absolutely no traffic that has any through movement, and we had a stop sign placed there, so that was one that was removed, and those types of things. And just so everyone's aware, this is something that through myself and Todd, we had gone through this back and forth several times discussing this, and I was kind of surprised that we didn't hear anything on the open forum, because we've been getting some comments on these, and basically I've only been questioned by 3 different people about it. We've sent them the road policy. I've gotten back to them, asked them if they had any questions, and they said all but one has said it makes perfect sense to them. So that's kind of where we're at. Again, if people have questions, they're welcome to call me. And when I ran these, Todd, I didn't tell you this, but when I ran these by a couple of the state engineers, he says there's several signs in here that there's even more that we could get rid of. But that's where we're at right now, and we can look at this again at a later date. But that being said, if there's no other questions, I can move on to the next item.
Bill, I got just a couple questions on it.
Sure.
As far as the signs that we have removed, you've got accurate logging of which signs you took down, correct?
Yep, I've got them all marked down. I've marked on the back side of the sign. Let me see if I've got if anybody wants to hold on just a second here, I will show something. And as far as that goes too, that's not one. Well, and just so you know, there were several signs out there that, according to the log, we're good to go. This is just one of them. As you can see, there's basically no black text on there that's supposed to say 500 feet. And the one behind it is supposed to be a speed limit of 30 miles an hour. So there was, I know Thomas brought that up at the last meeting, that there was a lot of signs that didn't even have, you couldn't even read them. So this was just a couple of them. I'm trying to find the sheet that showed, so basically, Dan, to answer your question, you can't really see, if I zoom in really tight here, on each one of these that we removed, you can't really see it. There's a text there. I wrote on which sign number it was. I put down the date we removed it, and we have all of those. We still have all those signs, and we had probably 25 additional signs in the township that weren't even on our signing plan that were removed. I don't know. Does that answer your question, Dan?
That does.
Yeah, so
The other question I have on it, these are at the town hall, correct? Because, oh, I don't know how to put it, but
excuse me?
there's accusations that they're at your house. You have these at the town hall, correct?
Oh yeah, they're at the town
Okay.
hall. Ken, you're on the line. Ken, are they at the town hall? Where are they?
Yes, they're all in the garage. They're kept
right.
separate from the old signs that we did have on, and all of them that were taken down are separated from those.
Okay. And Todd, you've been going to different seminars and whatever all, and there is studies that are showing that there's too much signage out there, and we're actually being encouraged to take these signs down. We're not being ordered to take them down, but we are being encouraged to take these signs down, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Mr. Hill, I have a question in regards to the resolution that was passed. Todd and Bill have been working their butts off and going through this literature and studying all this stuff. But in the resolution, it does state that we are supposed to have a engineering study done on it. Do we need to have an engineering study? Do we need to amend that resolution? If Bill and Todd are working together as our engineer and our road supervisor, what do we need to do to make sure that on the town side, we're all of our ducks are in a row with that resolution?
Jason, if I may, one other thing that I didn't mention too is, as it relates to part of the engineering study. Again, that's kind of loose language, but as you guys are aware, I've spent countless hours doing road counts. So I've got 35 different locations throughout the township that shows that our roads are below the 400 ADT minimum. A lot of these are 20 ADT up to maybe 120. So anyways, with that, Jason, I just want to make that clear too.
Yeah, I guess I would say, if the resolution called for an engineering study, I would proceed with the engineering study. Just to have that cover for any potential issues down the road as far as safety or anything like that. You have that engineering study and you don't have a situation where you called for an engineering study and then chose not to do it. So.
How long do we have to hold on to these signs before they can be disposed of?
I would say we should probably hold on to them for a while. I mean, from what I'm being told is the signs that were put out there were done through a study through the state and the county back in 09, 08. And now they've changed their idea of what they want for signage. So if they're good usable signs, I'd say maybe we should hold on to the good usable signs in case in another 5, 8, 10 years they change their minds and say they want more signage. If we've got good usable signs, can we put them back up or no? I guess I don't know on that one.
Todd, Todd, I was just kind of curious. Well, what's the status of an engineering study? What are we talking about there?
I've got this through this Minnesota Best Practices for Traffic Sign Maintenance and Management. I went to this seminar back in 2018, and it talks about the engineering study process, and there's multiple pages here. Maybe I'll just run a copy of this for you, Bill, and email it to you so you can take a look at what they kind of suggest, what goes through. And I haven't spent the time to really analyze it. I just pulled it off the shelf here today, and in case anybody had any easy questions. But yeah, the main things is you now have an inventory, you now have a policy. I mean, you never had those before, and those are very important parts of this whole puzzle. So let me do that for you, and we'll figure it out. To answer your question, Dan, about keeping the signs, you know, the big thing now today is this retroreflectivity, and I think Bill, you're leaning towards the policy stating that those signs are going to be based on a life expectancy, maybe 10, 15 years for replacement. So I don't think any of those old signs are worth keeping because they're just not going to meet the standards for those types of requirements, especially if they've been out there in the field for many years. So maybe hold on to them for a little bit until everything kind of, the smoke here kind of clears, and let's deal with it then.
Todd, how long are signs good for? I mean, from what I'm being told, some of them signs that were put up through that deal through the state and the county, they were supposedly 20 or 30-year signs. Is that true, or are street signs good for that long, or are they good for 10, 15 years? How long is a street sign good for?
I think the signs that they installed back then were probably 15 years. You know, you can buy the super high grade type material for these signs and to last 20 years, but you pay twice the price. So I think I can't remember, Bill, what the policy says, but if you've got the policy states that the signs be replaced every 15 years, regardless of their status or their condition. That's what the policy says. That's what you should do.
Yep.
So
Didn't we go 12 years, Bill, if I remember right? Or maybe I think I don't know if there's actually a year on there. I'd have to look at it closer, but I think it was.
Remember what we did on that one?
12 to 15. When I spoke with MR Signs, they said 3M, I believe, is where most of this stuff comes from. It's about a 12 to, you might get 15 out of some of the signs.
I thought in our projections, we were pretty much shooting at about 12 years as the maximum.
Right.
That's why we have in our budget, I believe we're planning to replace about a third each of the next 3 years. Is what we've been looking at.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yes.
And Todd, as far as it goes for speed limit signs, what all do for the township to legally put up a speed limit sign? What do we have to have done for a speed limit sign? And Doug, I'd kind of like that put in the meeting minutes, his response to that question.
According to this manual, speed limit signs are not required, especially in low volume roads where the traffic is 400 vehicles per day or less, unless it is different than the statutory speed limit. And for a quick education here, every road in the state of Minnesota is 55 miles an hour by statute, unless posted otherwise. And in like this Silver Lake Oaks plat, because of the house spacing, you have so many homes within a quarter mile, it by statute kind of converts to a rural residential area, which is a 35 mile an hour area by statute. You don't have to sign that. Everybody by statute should know that, but not everybody does, obviously. If it was any different than 35, then you would have to post it, but it's not. So
the key is there. It's a rural residential. It says you have to have driveways less than 300 feet. I believe it is.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Yeah, yes, that is the language. I don't know specifically if that 300 feet is correct or not, but I can verify that, but I think that sounds right.
That's got to be more than less than 300 feet for a quarter mile or more. It's in documentation TR 7000 that's on the MAT site.
But I think
And this is,
for all practical purposes, when we get a subdivision like that, it really probably should be in our resolution when we approve the final plat that it be zoned or determined to be a rural residential area. So by statute, it is really 35 miles an hour, but you don't have to sign it.
if I could interject, this is Jason Hill. With regard to that provision, you do actually have to adopt a resolution, and it would include, that's not a very long resolution, but includes findings that, it meets that, so many houses per, whatever the interval is. And you do have to sign it. So it's not kind of an automatic determination that the speed limit is 35. It's correct that by rule, everything's 55. But there is a resolution you have to adopt and you have to sign it to do that. So if there is, development like Silver Lake Oaks or other ones coming, I would recommend, adopting that resolution and signing those areas.
So another question I had with that though too is, I mean, just to keep things consistent, we're not going to want to do that for one neighborhood and not another. So if it's something that we're going to do with speed limits in the future, it's probably something we're going to want to do everywhere, because it kind of, is that correct?
I agree. It's very important to be consistent.
But don't we have to have some sort of a traffic study done if we're gonna lower the speed limit, or does it just go off a distance between driveways, or do we have to have somebody come out and do a traffic study on that? I don't know on that.
No, for that, as long as the area meets that statutory definition of a rural residential, you don't need a traffic study. A township can, if there's another road that it feels, that doesn't meet that standard, the township can procure a traffic study, and there's a process you can go through like that to establish a speed limit. But for that specific provision to set it at 35, you don't need a traffic study. You just need the engineer saying it meets the, measures it and meets the interval requirement.
Okay.
It's a good question, Jason. So like Silver Lake Oaks, what if it doesn't meet the 300? What if they are spaced average 450? Is it still 55 miles an hour?
It is. And in that type of situation, I would probably recommend, doing the traffic study to see if you can get, because you essentially have to get authority, do the traffic study and get authority to lower that speed limit.
That's through MnDOT, I think.
Yeah. I would probably recommend that if it doesn't meet those requirements.
Interesting.
We can't arbitrarily put a speed limit up. It has to go through MnDOT or somebody's review, right?
That's correct.
Yeah, there's a specific statutory set of requirements as far as speed limits, and the township can't just speed limit, declare what a speed limit is on a specific road.
Yeah, we had several locations that had 30-mile-an-hour speed limits that weren't in our plan at all. That they were removed though, and that was they're out in the ag area. The stickers on them were they were installed in 2017.
Not by township.
Oh, well, they're on township roads, so I'm assuming they were. So Todd, you and I will work and figure out what exactly is defined as a traffic study.
Yes.
Any further questions about the road, the signs?
No, I'm good.
We will have to have an engineer study in compliance with our resolution 2020-14 there. Moving on, Bill.
All right, so the next one talks about our shared road agreements. I had, where is it here? Sorry. I had sent out, everybody saw the typical section for that information. That was a, let me see if I can find it here, I'm sorry. This was just kind of a tickler to kind of get the other townships looking at, what some potential things to look at for our road agreements, tree trimming, driveways, and those types of things. Just again, I'm just letting you guys know these are things that will be discussed when we start looking at our shared road agreements. I did find some shared road agreements from 93, I think, 94. I haven't had a chance to look at those yet, so that's coming up. And then the last one here, Gene was sat in on a MAT training where they talked about some state aid, local road improvement program. And so he had asked if I'd call Mark Breezy, who's the state aid coordinator here for the state. And let's see what happened here. So I don't know if anybody's had a chance to look at that information also. It's this 2020 local road improvement program solicitation guide. So what this is basically grants will pay up to 100% of construction costs up to 1.25 million. Historically, they've had about 200 applicants, and they usually fund about 50 of them. Things that are key are like routes of significance. So when I spoke with him about this, I specifically mentioned 50th Street or 50th, well, the one that runs north-south, and explained to him that it includes both 2 townships and 2 counties, and he kind of perked up and said, yeah, that might be a really good application there to kind of pursue. So if you've had a chance to look at that information, applications for these types of things are due by March 3rd. So what I'm looking for is just approval to proceed to work with Todd McLeod in possibly coming up with a plan. And I don't want to do this until after one of our next agenda items is talking about scheduling a working meeting, so we can go through, a lot of other things when it comes to basically road, figuring out which road priorities we want for 21 or 22, maybe moving on to 23, because this funding is good all the way out to 2023. We're probably not going to be able to pull anything together in time for 2021, but again, the applications are due by March 3rd. What else? So just in questioning, did people have a chance to look through this, the solicitation guide?
I tried to print it and it didn't print. For some reason, it wouldn't print. I didn't know if I was locked out or if tried twice.
Okay. And talking with him, Todd, with Mark, he just was saying that Mr. Breezy from the state, some of the questions I had about it asked for an engineering, like an engineer's estimate, and he said I'm good with using what we've used at MnDOT, which is like an LWD, length, width, depth type estimate is fine, as long as we can kind of get a good. He just doesn't want us asking, coming in at, say a $500,000 project and it ends up being 8 or something like that. So we'll need to be pretty close on what we're asking for.
So do we have to have plans completed or just an estimate? It looks like it's just an estimate.
Yeah, it's just an estimate. And this money, that is given as a grant, again, it's only for construction costs. It does not include engineering and
Okay.
those types of things. So I think a lot of the stuff that we're looking at, you know, if it's 50th, there's probably not going to be a lot of engineering. If it's just like a mill and overlay or a reclaim and pave in portions, or maybe a subcut or something like that.
Mhm.
But we definitely want to reach out to Wynet and let them know. We will need a sponsor, a co-sponsor, just to make sure, and that would be the county. Anyways, that's just one thing. Did I send this off to you, Todd?
Yeah, I got it.
Yes,
Yep.
I did. Yep. Okay. So what's your thoughts on this? Gene, Dan, Thomas, John, is this something we want to at least take a look at?
Might as well take a look at it. I mean, that road does need terrible attention.
I don't know
Absolutely.
if I'm allowed to comment on that since I live on it and I don't want it labeled as my road. It's the township road.
I don't think you're creating an issue by saying that the road needs some upgrading. It's definitely a problem road.
I mean, there's other areas we could focus on too, but I think this would be probably kind of come to the top for these people who are reviewing this application instead of a road in the middle of the township. You know, this is multiple agencies benefiting from it, so it might kind of rise to the top a little quicker. So again, is everybody okay with me proceeding to work with Todd on this? At least
We are not obligated to go forward if we do not get the state aid, right?
I guess I'm just right now at this point, I'm just looking at working with Todd to just try to make a determination if we can come up with something, because we did our road review, but there might be a little bit more that we need to look at. Not that I'm talking hours and hours with Todd, but you know, you can probably look over it in a half hour and we can, Gene, you and I can look. I mean, go ahead, Todd.
Yeah, Gene, I wouldn't think so, because if you're talking 50th, I think that's what, the 3-mile stretch.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, you may as well apply for everything. And if you don't get it, yeah, I don't know how you could possibly have to proceed on it. I mean, it's just an application.
Right.
Fund.
Well, I think it'd be a great idea if we could get some state funding for something that needs doing. We can probably do it a little bit quicker than if we have to wait till we can budget for it.
I agree.
I think it's a great opportunity for,
or we could just say,
I think John was saying something. What was that, John?
sorry, I just think it's a great opportunity to save some money here and to possibly get this road fixed sooner than planned.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, what a great find, Bill and Todd. That's thank you. You guys are working your butts off.
And this was something that Gene kind of put me on. So thanks, Gene, for catching this.
Yeah, it kind of came through on the MAT's annual meeting, and I just kind of followed up on it. It looks like it could be a great opportunity for us.
Oh, I believe so. Thank you.
You want a motion to go forward or just a verbal?
Whatever you feel is needed, Gene.
I think it would be best to make it official.
Okay. So is that a motion?
Yep, I move the motion.
And that was John.
John,
Motion. Is there a second to that motion? I will make the second to that motion. I think it's a great opportunity to get the state involved with helping fund a road that definitely needs some work. Is there any further discussion? Motion has been made and seconded to have Mr. Wickham and Mr. Fluth go forward with trying to get state aid to a local road improvement program. Is there any further discussion? If there's no further discussion, we'll proceed to vote. Mr. Duden,
Aye.
Mr. Hiller,
Aye.
Mr. Stokel's aye, Mr. Whitcomb,
Aye.
and Mr. Wilhelm.
Aye.
I keep hearing the echoes in the background. Thank you. Motion is carried. We will proceed with the solicitation for LRIP. Thank you. Is there anything else? Mr. Whitcomb, do you have any other issues with the road report?
I'm sorry, I had turned my mic up. No, I have nothing else. Thank you.
Okay, we might as well move to the fire board.
I'm sorry, did you hear any of that? I think I turned my mic off instead of on. I have nothing from the fire board. That meeting was canceled.
Okay. Airport Commission liaison. Our biggest push this month is we've got several requests. The helipad has their Jet A fuel down, and in lieu of fixing it, they would wonder if the airport would be willing to put the Jet A fuel in next to our regular fuel and have it run through the same system. It would cost a little bit of money. I'm not sure the city's gonna spend the money, but probably I think it's 80% could come from MnDOT Aviation. We also reapplied for the taxi lane funds, and the city council is discussing hangar leases and rentals. And that's about all I have with the airport. City Planning Commission liaison, we will be meeting next Monday. So we will move on to, unless somebody has a question about the airport.
Gene, this is John Wilhelm. Do you have a cost on the fuel combining that helicopter fuel?
I believe it's between 30 and 40,000. We didn't have an exact number because we were kind of caught flat-footed the day before the meeting. We got a request from the helicopter. They said their thing is down, and they figure they could sell. I believe they were saying we would estimate 50,000 gallons a year that they would use. And then we have another person looking at building a hangar who would also like to have Jet A fuel there. So we'd probably be looking at about 70,000 gallons a year of Jet A fuel. But it would take a number of years to repay it.
And did you say that there's a possibility of getting some funding through, what did you say, MnDOT or?
Yeah, MnDOT Aviation would fund it at either 75 or 80%.
Well, that's a no-brainer.
I would think so. We have some members of the city council are not real airport friendly.
Okay, so what can we do as a community to help push this through?
Get hold of your city council members if you know of any, and try to get them a little more user friendly because it's toward the airport.
Okay, thanks, Gene.
And we have some new. I think Victoria Allen has been very friendly to the airport, and I believe Thomas Walker has also been pretty friendly with the airport. But, if we can get a little twist on the other ones, that'd be great. Thank you. We will move on to Township Planning Commission. Oh, I'm sorry. Another question? Oh. Township Planning Commission Liaison, Dan Hiller.
Not a lot to talk about. They tabled their home occupation and interim use permit until next month. Same with their zoning amendments for cul-de-sacs. Scott he was not able to get a hold of the guy from the DNR to talk to him. They did set up a subcommittee to kind of do a little research on history of residential development, just to kind of try to help make decisions. They did talk about section 27 and 34, and as Scott indicated earlier, it kind of sounds like the planning commission is not really in favor of doing any kind of rezoning for Scott Muller's project, but there was no decisions made at that meeting, so not a lot to say on that end.
Okay. Any questions for Dan? If not, we'll move on to new business. Confirm 2021 Township meeting calendar. And we have dates of the holidays, the town board and planning commission. I don't know if you saw the latest numbers that they have proposed. Planning commission decided to go with July 5th. No, excuse me, July 12th and September 7th. So it'd be the day after Labor Day and a week and a day after the 4th of July. Otherwise, everything else flew as was printed last month. Any questions?
What's on the screen looks correct then for the planning commission?
July 12th and November 7th, yes.
Yep.
Okay.
There a motion to accept maybe have a motion to accept township planning commission and town hall schedule? Is there a motion to accept all three?
This is Dan Hiller. I'd make that motion.
Motion has been made by Mr. Hiller. Is there a second to that motion?
Bill Whitcomb, I'd second that.
Is there any further discussion? If there is no further discussion, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor of the motion to accept the meeting schedule for the town board, planning commission, and the township hall closed schedule, signify by saying, oh, well, okay, Mr. Jordan.
Aye.
Mr. Hiller.
Aye.
Mr. Sokol's aye. Mr. Whitcomb.
Aye.
And Mr. Wilhelm.
Aye.
Thank you. Next is schedule a working meeting for early January. Anybody? Mr. Whitcomb, I think you're the one proposing.
Yeah, that's the one I was just proposing something. We've got just things for this spring that we need to keep moving forward on, and this working meeting would be to plan the 2020 road priorities and any resolutions we may need. I'd like to get, since we've got the policy for brushing while the ground is frozen, we may need to follow up and follow through on some of those things, because we may need to rent or hire out a skid loader with a front end. I'm just really surprised at how fast the stuff grows back. Some of the stuff we knocked down this spring is already 5 feet tall and an inch around. So we just got to keep on top of that. Otherwise, it just costs a lot more to get rid of them when they're bigger. So anyways, I'm just talking about a working meeting for that. And also we'll probably need to send out our post that the township will be doing the roadside brushing this winter. I believe I read somewhere that it's a good policy to keep the township informed when that's happening. That's really all I was going to talk about it.
To do that brushing, if we could do it before you get snow on the ground,
Yeah.
I mean,
Or
truthfully, versus trying to drive through a foot of snow, it's not real conducive because you can't get down to the base either.
If-
yeah, and
I'd
if
agree
we,
with that 100% right now. If we can get somebody out there to do some brushing right now, I mean, it's cold, the ground's starting to freeze up. Right now is prime time to be out doing some brushing.
right. So I'd put a request out to Dahlheimer to see what he would come back on a bid for that, and then also potentially possibly renting some from Alphen Machinery. But those are the things I was looking at. No hurry
Somebody
on.
else?
Just go ahead.
If I can interrupt, somebody else that we should contact is Barry Ramage, Ramage. He used to be part owner of Floor Standards, and he has a track skidder with a brush cleaning outfit. He contacted, talked to me about if there was an opportunity, he'd like to throw his hat in the ring.
Okay. I mean, we've got that big boom mower that I'll meet with Dale Henshin this week and see if we can get that back on. And I know there's some areas that we'll need to utilize that. I know some of the areas though in the residential areas it sends stuff flying everywhere. So, but out in the country we can use that boom mower. So we'll get started on that right away too. So anyways, that's what the working meeting for January was, primarily to look at road priorities. We can put an agenda together later. I know I talked to Jason Hill about what all we can do at this working meeting. Jason, could you just kind of inform us, kind of walk us through what needs to be done since it's out of this normal schedule?
Yeah, I think you just treat it as a special town board meeting. And what you do in any meeting that is outside of the normal schedule, like you just adopted, you set as a special town board meeting, and you have to post that notice at the town hall. Doesn't have to be published. You could certainly put it on your website as well, but post the notice 5 days before. We always use 5 days as a rule, and then in that notice you put in what the agenda is. And if it's to consider the road projects or whatever, you can and I can help Doug prepare the notice, but say the board is going to review and consider and possibly take action on X, Y, and Z. The key thing about special town board meetings is the notice, and then when you conduct the meeting, you are limited solely to the agenda that was in the notice. You can't talk about anything else. At a regular board meeting, the agenda can be amended and things can be added or removed, or how the circumstances warrant. But for a special town board meeting like that, you have to stick to the agenda.
And
so you can
we
refer.
can make decisions.
Yeah.
Okay. Resolutions could be passed and those types of things. It's just normal business. We just got to stick to the agenda.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Jason.
Yep.
Any comments, questions? You're saying the 5th is a possibility. That'd be the Tuesday, right?
Yeah, and a lot of this depends on what Todd's schedule looks like, because this is where we're going to kind of decide on what we're going to do with this local road improvement plan and other things that might have to shuffle around a little bit when it comes to crack sealing and dust control, those types of things. But Todd needs to be there for sure for 50th. I'm guessing, or not, maybe not at the meeting, but like we're doing now.
I'm pretty open at this point if you want to include me, so just let me know.
Okay.
Bill, I don't know. Did you want me at this meeting? I was gonna say, I can't do the January 5th, but I wanted to check and see if you wanted me to attend this meeting as well.
I guess
I don't have,
just maybe that resolution, but yeah, so just so that we
yeah,
can
I can
get
prepare some.
it.
We can talk about it before. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Questions, comments? Somebody wants to make a motion to set a working meeting for a specific date?
As long as we got a quorum that can commit to January 5th, I'm sorry, I will be on my way to the Hard Rock Casino in Playa del Carmen, Mexico, so I will not be available that day.
Okay, suitcase?
Looks like we're not doing your road.
Yeah, I gotta take my kids on vacation. They've been through a year of hell.
Is there a better date? I hate to get it within a week of the annual or the monthly meeting. It's nice to have a
I'll be
gap
back
between
on
them.
the 10th, so I don't know if the 12th works. Otherwise, like I say, I mean, if we got a quorum and you guys can do that meeting without me, I mean, whatever you guys decide. I don't want to hold up everything just because I'm going on vacation, so.
Only set the motion, not anything.
I'd rather hit it sooner rather than later if we don't have snow yet. Middle of January, we might have snow already.
Yeah, I'd say the sooner the better. When you leaving?
I'm leaving on the 5th.
The 4th is that's the planning commission, right?
What the hell was that again? I don't remember.
January 4th is planning.
Well, either way, I was just thinking I got a fire board meeting on the 5th, but I don't have
What
to
about
go
the
to that.
29th of this month?
That works for me.
I'll be on vacation that week, but that's me.
29th work?
No,
29th works for me.
Todd said he's on vacation.
Todd's on vacation. Okay, then
We don't have to do it at Tuesday night. I mean, it's easiest, but shoot.
I mean, as long as three of you can commit that you're going to be at that meeting, just do it on the 5th. I mean,
Todd, when are you on, like, out of town?
I'm out that whole week, last week of December.
Okay, so
Back on the 4th.
Maybe we should just keep it to either the 5th or the 6th. I'm up for either of those days. Oh, well, shoot. Is the planning commission on the 4th?
Yes.
I don't have this. Okay. Yeah, so.
What about,
go ahead.
What about Monday, December 21st?
Oh man, I gotta still pull stuff together. It's gonna be tight. I gotta pull.
I believe in you.
Yeah. I got a lot of it together, but I got a lot that I still gotta.
Yeah, but you gotta have her posted for 5 days, and that would be, you'd have to have it in by the end of the day tomorrow to be 5 days.
Yeah, and I don't. Yeah.
Or Saturday.
What's everybody doing the 25th?
Saturday the 26th work for anybody?
No, we'll just have to stick with the 5th, if everybody's okay with that. Dan, maybe you can call in from Mexico.
If it's fine with me.
Okay, I'd move the motion to have a working meeting scheduled for January 5th at 7 p.m. Is 7 p.m. good with everybody? Move it a little earlier.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's fine. Motion's been made to have a working meeting for January 5th at 7 PM. There's a second to the motion.
I'll second that. John Wilhelm.
Wilhelm seconded the motion. Is there any further discussion? If there is no further discussion, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor signify by saying aye. Oh, I'll do board. Thomas?
Aye.
Dan?
Aye.
Aye. Bill, aye. John?
Bill's aye.
Aye.
I'm hearing echoes in the background, so I'm trying to figure out, okay. Motion carried. We'll have a working meeting on January 5th.
We'll have to decide if that's going to be in person or how are we going to do this. Can we meet in person yet?
I don't
Does
personally
anyone
have
know?
a problem with that.
I'm okay with it.
I'm okay with it. So we'll meet in person then.
I'm fine.
All right.
Okay.
We got the whole room.
We probably still should,
Yeah.
when we post it, we should probably still have a notice, excuse me, for how somebody can get on distance. We also, by that time, should have our equipment in place so we can do a trial run on how equipment works.
Yeah, that'd be great. Good dry run. I'm with all for that.
Okay. Moving on, pay schedule. I saw
Where the heck is that?
somebody posted a possible pay schedule. I don't think I got maybe I did. I don't know if I got the newest one or not. I saw somebody had posted with some numbers.
Here it was. Here it is. Okay. So as of April, this is kind of where everything was. If you can see, the chair was at 55. Everybody else was at 55. Working meetings 55. I don't need to read it. You guys can read it. And I was just looking at the secretarial or deputy clerk. So I'm sorry. So what's crossed out is what we currently have. Boom. And down here, 12 to 16. And then down here was 55. And anything in red is what I added for road maintenance worker. I just said may include, but is not limited to road grader operator and just sign maintenance. And then custodial duties include, but not limited to. And the reason I went this route, just to explain, is because the last one we had was, it just gave like hour, but didn't explain anything as to what this stuff was for. It was just basically chair with a dollar amount, working meetings with a dollar amount. It didn't say, it was just a little short of information, I thought. And then the secretarial deputy clerk, I thought it might be a good idea to pay them more than they're making flipping burgers at McDonald's. So if everybody, these are just, I'm just throwing it out there for discussion. This is definitely, that's all this is. So Gene, if you wanna.
Okay, wait, go down again. I know you had something down toward the end. Road maintenance workers, you had where?
Nothing's really changed since. I mean, it's all the dollar amounts have stayed the same. The only thing I bumped up a little bit was the secretary, deputy clerk. I bumped that up just a little bit. So like I said, so they're making more than flipping burgers. And then I just bumped up the chair for the planning commission $10 and bumped up the chair for the board by $10, but everything else is the same.
And what did you have for election judges? I'm sorry.
That stayed at $15 for election judges. The head election judge was 20. Again,
Okay.
this was, nothing's really changed.
Any discussion? Maybe we should make a motion to that effect to accept this pay schedule.
Gene, this is Jason Hill. If I could interject,
Yes.
I would recommend. I had a chance to look at the resolution that was adopted in April or May, and then the previous board action on kind of other folks, pay scale. I think I'd recommend, this is kind of a good itemization of everything. And since we're coming up on a new year, I think I would recommend, if the board is generally in favor of this schedule, that the board adopt a resolution, essentially saying the pay scale for 2021 is X, and lay out similar to the resolution that was previously adopted, but include all these individuals, so that you have it all kind of in one place and it's very clear that way.
Okay.
Jason, was that primarily because that one that was passed in April only had the supervisors and clerk information in there?
Yeah, and it's it's just generally better if you're going to have that type of a policy, just kind of have it all in one place.
Yeah.
Because then if an employee is looking for it, it's easy to provide. So I don't know that there would necessarily be any board action tonight if there's just kind of a consensus that these numbers and kind of these descriptions are okay. I can prepare a resolution for your January meeting that kind of formally adopts this and puts it into that language.
Excuse me.
At the bottom, just so you guys are aware too, anything that was listed as hourly has a little asterisk to it, and that just says that all hourly rates are paid on quarter-hour increments rounded up. And then the clerk's pay, where did I put? Why is that double?
It's on the bottom.
Oh, I'm sorry. It was the holiday hours. Yeah. So that just comes down here. So the holiday hours or the holidays that the clerk has is listed at the bottom. So like I said, I just pulled this together. If people want to make comments on it, we can make adjustments. Excuse me?
Go down to the bottom again.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
I'll zoom in. I'll zoom in a little bit too for you.
Okay, we have 10 days that the town hall will be closed, but you only have 9 holidays that the clerk's going to be paid. You're missing. You're missing.
Oh, okay. Let me see. What do we have up here though? Up here it says paid holidays 9 per year.
Okay.
What are we missing?
Listing that 10 holidays where the town hall is going to be closed on 10 different days.
Oh, okay.
Just so we verify that there's
Okay.
difference between the two.
Easter Monday is the one that was missing that we initially had on there last week.
Easter's not a paid holiday.
He said Easter Monday.
Easter, yeah, if you make that the 10th paid holiday, then.
That was one that we took off.
Okay, so we are at 9. Okay, just so we verify that we know exactly what we're looking at.
Yeah, I think Minnesota only has 9 holidays, so.
Okay. Hey. Any further discussion? Well, I guess we should have a motion to accept this or discuss if somebody's got different ideas about numbers.
You broke up there, Gene. Can you repeat that?
I'm sorry, does anybody have any difference of opinion as to the numbers that we have presented in front of us? If not, I'd entertain a motion to accept this salary and payment schedule as so we can present it to Mr. Hill for resolution.
Did somebody make a motion on that?
I have not heard anything.
Thomas Duden, I would move the motion.
Motion has been made to accept its salary and payment schedule. Is there a second to the motion?
Dan Hiller, I'll make that second.
Motion has been made and seconded to accept the salary and payment schedule as presented. With the red marks indicating changes from previous year. Is there any further discussion? Is there any further discussion? If not, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor of the motion to accept the pay schedule as presented and present this to give Mr. Hill for a resolution, signify by saying, oh, excuse me again. Mr. Duden. Mr. Duden, you vote?
He made the motion.
Aye.
Oh, sorry.
Mr. Hiller?
Aye.
Locals, aye. Mr. Whitcomb?
Aye.
And Mr. Wilhelm?
Aye.
Motion is carried. We will move on to fee schedule.
Oh, where is it?
Yeah. If you look at last year's fee schedule, maybe I'll ask Mr. Richards, do you see anything that's out of line or maybe isn't very clear?
Mr. Chair, we had made some corrections last year to make it a little bit more clear. I know there's some discussion, I think mainly from Jesse John Dahl. He thought the fees were especially the park dedication fee was too high, but again, I think that fee is fair because it's a very typical fee that I see throughout the metro area for park dedication. So, yeah, I don't have any other comments.
So are you seeing what's on the screen,
Mr.
Richards?
Chairman.
Sorry.
Yes.
The conditional use permit, honestly, the one I filed, yeah, I paid you the $250, but it cost us $800 and some dollars. I think that one needs to probably be addressed a little bit because that one was pretty cut and dry too. That wasn't even Scott really having to work around the bush. And also, I think we can probably drop the 3-2 beer license. I don't think is there even 3?
Thomas, you
I
dropped
think
off the call
we
there.
crossed it off last year, I believe. I don't believe anybody's got a 3-2 license anymore.
I agree with, this is Dan Hiller. I agree with Thomas, but with getting rid of the 3-2 license, and I agree on the conditional use permit application, but on the same token, I mean, if we're gonna all of a sudden start raising that application, you can just pretty much guarantee nobody's gonna come in and apply for a conditional use permit. I'm not gonna lie, I was a little dumbfounded when I saw how much it costed us for Tom's application for a very cut and dry deal. So I don't know what to do about on that one. I think that's part of what we need to wait until the planning commission meets to discuss what we're going to require for conditional use permits.
How about, do we have to come up with this fee schedule today? Can we do a subcommittee on this and get this a little nailed down a little bit more?
We could have a subcommittee and then have that report come to us on the 5th of January.
Is that something that the board could have a subcommittee, or could it something we ask the planning commission to do? They might be.
Well, I think the planning commission, they're supposed to meet on the 4th, so they'd be able to maybe have some sort of information for you guys. Well, I don't know that you can really act on it on the 5th if they were to have their meeting to decide what they're going to do with the term permits.
Yeah, I guess I was the same as Dan Hiller. I was totally dumbfounded when I found out what it cost to get the paperwork done for Thomas's, and I assumed the same with Terry Zortman's and Kathy's and any of the other ones we've done in the last couple of years. I don't know. Should we send it to the, I don't know, planning commission? If they have, I suppose they have as much dollar knowledge as we do.
Like I say, is there a reason that this, I know it's a fee schedule for, it'll be for 2021, but I mean, is there a reason that it has to be done at this meeting?
I would say as long as it's done before the annual meeting, I think that would be more than suffice. So I would say let's table this until the February meeting and let the planning commission have their meeting.
That sounds reasonable.
I'd be agreeable with that.
And this would still be in effect until something changes, I would assume.
If that's kosher, I'd make that as a motion to table this until the February meeting.
Motion's made to table the fee schedule until the February meeting.
I'd
With the
second that.
review by the, and that was Dan Hiller made the motion, right?
Yep.
Somebody seconded?
Bill Whitcomb seconded.
And Bill Whitcomb seconded. Is there any further discussion about tabling the fee schedule to the February meeting? And have the planning commission look at it in advance of that. Not, we'll proceed to vote. Mr. Duden.
Aye.
Mr. Hiller.
Aye.
Stokel, aye. Mr. Whitcomb.
Aye.
And Mr. Wilhelm.
Aye.
Motion's carried. we're down to, we now have the business, which is Ken Henson annual review. Is there any questions for Mr. Henson?
I think at this point, we'll need to ask whether he wants to have a closed meeting or open meeting. Is that correct, Mr. Hill?
Well, the board has the option to close it. There is a specific process you need to follow to do that. The employee has the option to make it open, to ask that it be open. So yeah, I mean, ultimately, it's the board's decision on how it's done. You know,
Okay,
but
I
it's
think,
the employee can demand that it be open.
okay. Just wanted to make sure that it didn't have to be closed. I was just kind of looking out for the employee if they wanted it closed.
Yeah. Have you, I can't remember from our prior discussions, is this the first set of annual reviews that you guys have done?
We did a
year.
review for Mr. Henson and probably 4 or 5 months ago, but we want to put them in the same time so all our employees get reviewed at the same time.
Okay. Was that review, was that a closed meeting at that time?
No, it wasn't.
Okay. I mean, it doesn't have to be. So don't worry about that. So I guess I would say I don't have at my fingertips. There is a script that we provide townships and city councils for closing meetings because it gets really technical. If you close a meeting, you know, you need to make sure you're doing it correctly. You know, if that's the intention, I would say maybe table these, and you know, we could do that at the January meeting and close it according to the procedure, because then we could state in the agenda as well that portion of the meeting would be closed, but otherwise we could proceed as you've done in the past.
Do we ask the employee what he would prefer?
Sure. I don't know that you're bound by that unless they demand that it be open, but sure.
Okay.
That's
So
fine.
we can conduct these right now then in an open meeting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ken, are you okay with an open meeting?
Yeah, I have no problem with it. If Doug's gonna have his, it really is no problem for me to do mine.
Okay. Maybe before we get started, I sent this out to everybody. Just if you want to use it, great. If you don't, that's fine too. It was just some information that, oh, that's big.
Bill, can I jump
Comments.
in? I'm going to leave, so hang
Yep.
out.
Thank you, Todd.
Hey, have
We'll
a good
talk later.
Christmas, everybody. See you later.
You too. Bye-bye.
See you, Todd.
Done.
I guess I would take that opportunity too, since this is the last item. I don't know if you need me around for reviews.
No, I don't think so. What do you, Gene, you okay?
I don't think so.
Go straight home, Jason.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Ken.
I'll go from
School
my
night.
chair. I'll go from one chair to the other in my house. So, all right, thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, if there's no objection, this is Scott Richards. I'll probably leave at this point too.
Thank you
What the
very
heck?
much.
Thank
What
you.
the heck? I'll leave too.
We're losing everybody.
Well,
Ken, you're on your own.
let's eat some-
Ken, write your own review.
Okay,
All
so
Just, okay, I don't think we have
What I-
any long drawn out processes, but does any board
No.
member have a question for Ken?
I don't have a question. This is Dan Hiller. I have a statement. Kenny, you've been doing a damn good job. Thank you for all your hard work.
Well,
Yep,
thank you.
I agree.
Appreciate that.
This was something that Ken pulled together for us. So for those of you who may not know exactly what he does, we typed it up. So these were pulled together by him. His expectations for the past few years are passed on his job. clean the town hall office, meeting room, garage on a regular basis, clean the outside grounds. Has everybody had a chance to go through this? I don't want to dismiss this, but it sounds like people want to keep moving, so.
Yeah, I've scrolled through it.
No questions
Ken, you
for
actually
anybody?
put
Got
this together,
questions?
right?
Ken,
I'm
you
going
put
to
this
go
together?
along with Dan and just say, I treasure the fact that we have Ken Henson taking care of our township building and equipment. And I'm going to just be as complimentary as possible because I think it's great. Also the fact that you did so much work for our AWARE program in the last year.
Yeah, he's done a great job and pulling together the inventory. I'm pretty sure that we got a whole inventory of what's in the back now, and that's nice to have. I don't think we've ever had that. Is there anything you'd like to request from us, Ken? Is there something we can do for
No,
you?
I think that you've done a great job this year. I've had more input in the last year than I've ever had. And not that the other town boards haven't treated me well, but I've been more involved with this one than I ever have been in the past, and I've been appreciated for it. So I like that.
No, is there anything else either way?
Not as far as I'm concerned. I enjoy doing the job that I do and taking care of the town hall the way I do. You guys give me a lot of latitude on what I do take care of, and I think we work well together.
Well, I thank you again and again. I can't say enough. Thank you.
Is there any listening to prior meetings? It sounds like, did they give you a like a little increase every year, a 3% or anything like that?
It
COLA,
really
cost
kind of
of living?
varied. There was a lot of times they'd give me a $1 an hour raise at the end of the year, but that's, that can only go so far. I've been here 15 years, so it's you keep bumping it up, you kind of price yourself out of the market. That's up to you guys.
And what's your rate today?
$20.
I know there's been a lot of times where he'll go out on the roads too and be doing road work and kind of putting himself, picking up stuff out of the ditch. And he did a lot of brushing and utilizing his equipment for the township. I don't know if he ever billed, but for 2 days, he and I cleared brush and through the wood chipper, and he made two trips with his 1 ton to dump that. So I know he's out on the road too, and our road guys are getting 25. I don't know.
Would you like to make a motion?
Excuse me, something's breaking up.
I was asking if you would like to make a motion.
Well, I would like to, if he's, I know he's a custodian, but if he's ever out there doing work on the road and putting himself kind of out there in front of vehicles and whatnot, I would like to see him at least get as much as the other road maintenance guys are making at $25 an hour. I don't know if there's a way of differentiating that. That's the problem with CTAS and payroll. I don't know if Doug, if that's possible.
I would think that it would be possible to segregate those two duties. Doug?
Yeah. The way to do that is to make create a second employee with that designation.
So it's possible.
Yeah. Yeah, we have others that way. Jeanette Oaks, for example, she's in as an election judge and as
You cut out, Doug. Your mic went mute.
Now I'm saying it is possible we have others that are
Okay.
said twice under two different designations.
Okay. And then, the other side to this too is, for years, I know he's been using his own tools and his own equipment. I don't know that he's ever been compensated for that. And it may not be part of course, his hourly pay, but in the future here, I'd like to look at least paying him for the use of, he's got a wood chipper that he uses and trailers, and just for maybe a future discussion. But I would make a motion to give him a 3% pay raise for the building maintenance custodial, and then whenever he's out doing road duties, that he'd be paid at the $25 rate. So if he's at 20 right now, 20 times,
It's
he'd be at $20.60
increase.
Yeah.
Motion has been made by Bill to give Ken a 3% custodial increase and segregate his duties, so $25 anytime he's on the road. And I don't know, work out some kind of a agreement where if you're using your own equipment, you should be charging us, because it's anybody else would. Motion's been made. Is there a second to that motion?
John Wilhelm, I'll second that motion.
Motion been made and seconded to provide a 3% raise for the custodial services and pay Ken $25 whenever he's on the road working road work. Is there any further discussion?
Just for clarification, though, this is just his hourly pay. So where you kind of briefly talked about if he's using his trailer or his wood chipper, that's something we're going to have to discuss at a later time. We're just discussing the hourly pay, correct?
Right.
Okay.
Right. Yeah, we'll have to discuss that in a future time.
Sure.
Yeah. Right now, the motion is that we give a 3% raise for custodial services and $25 an hour when he's on the road. Is there any further discussion? If there is no further discussion, we'll proceed to vote. Alan.
Aye.
Dan.
Aye.
Gene, aye. Bill.
Aye.
And John.
Aye.
Motion's carried. Anything else with the Ken Henson's annual review? If not, we'll move on to Mr. Dahl's annual review. Again, we have a job description of clerk treasurer in front of us. I believe the only thing I think we probably have to be considering that I know Mr. Dahl has been in the town hall pretty much 4 days a week. I think we have to consider that he's not getting compensated for all the hours that he's putting in.
And when we hired, we had the hours at 20 to 30 hours a week. And I remember asking repeatedly what the hours were for the clerkship. And I don't remember getting a straight answer, but now I've gone back and looked at where things are at, and it was pretty consistent. 32 to 35 or more hours a week is what was done in the past. And with what he's done in the last year and a half, we're just really impressed. I'm really thankful for there's been so much done with COVID that have just kind of gotten in the way of everything. We're having meetings both online and in person. We're having to do duplicate entries for printing stuff out and making it ready, available for, I know how much extra work that takes to keep that organized. So I just really appreciate Doug for what he's done. And anyway.
First off, Doug, are you fine with us doing your review publicly, or do you want we forgot to ask you that question.
Oh, no, I'd already agreed to.
Okay.
Open is fine.
Just wanted to hear it. You've been doing a damn good job too, sir.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
And again, I will compliment you also on I probably have to come in here a day a week for something, and you're just here all the time. It's way more than what you're billing for, and the things that you've had to do and so on. I really appreciate all you do.
What I would say from my perspective is I don't need or even desire an increase in the hourly rate, but I have discovered that it's really not possible to do this job right in 20 hours a week. There's just too much going on. And so that there could be an increase in the ceiling of the hours. It would be very helpful, because there are projects here that keep tripping over that I really should be working on, but it's just hard to get to that sort of thing with the restriction on the time.
Doug, how many hours do you think you need to do your job effectively and efficiently?
Well, I'd say put a ceiling of 30 hours on it.
Well, we already got you approved to 20 to 30, so.
Yeah, but last year there was an explicit motion to make it 20 hours a week. And then there was some flexibility in that with training and other things available and elections. So I think I've averaged around 25 hours a week. So, but if I, had another day, the township hall wouldn't even necessarily have to be open, but it could be, but one more day, regular day would probably be very helpful.
So I
already kind of touched base on that a meeting or two ago, where I think our township's probably getting to the point where we should maybe really sit down and consider the fact of having our township open, 4 days a week. I mean, we're starting to experience growth. Town hall only being open 3 days a week. I don't know how many hours Doug's looking at that he wants to take on. I mean, but I'm definitely not opposed to raising his hours. I mean, that's.
Doug, what hours are you billing us for when you're on days you're here?
It's 8:30 to 3:30 typically. So Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday.
So that's 7 hours.
Right.
So are you thinking about having the office open an extra day, or are you just talking about keeping it to 3 days a week so you have a day to kind of catch up on stuff?
Well, I've been back and forth on that. I think Dan makes a good point that it would be good to have another day open. I don't know how. I'm not exactly sure what would be the best way to approach that. But if you think that it's a good idea to have an additional day, then it would be good to have it open on Wednesday.
I guess I know Doug is here pretty much every Wednesday anyway. I think we should probably open the hall up to 4 7-hour days, and also we should really be encouraging Doug to have a deputy clerk here at least part of or all of one of those days. So if he's in the middle of doing something and the phone rings, he doesn't have to answer the phone and then get back into the loop of what he was doing.
Yeah, I agree. I know one of the concerns is just, with the budget, but one thing that I'd kind of forgotten about is that a lot of these escrows and things, because he's spending an awful lot of time on, these developments that are coming in, that what we had budgeted was from the general budget. So these escrows, I was talking to him about the other day, that's what a lot of those escrows are for, is for his salary. We just got to figure out how to make that happen in CTAS, because it's not. So basically, the bottom line is just making sure that the money's there in the budget, and I believe it is. And I think, Gene, what you're thinking, it's there for his 30 hours plus a deputy.
Yes.
Okay. And not to mention, another kudos is I totally forgot that we had 4 elections this year, so that was even extra work.
Does anybody have any questions for Doug relating to his performance? Or Doug, do you have any questions of us relating to what we could do or should be doing or whatever?
No, I just have found it very helpful to have, for example, when Bill and I went through the expense allocations to get things into the proper fund. On some early on where road and bridge expenses had been allocated to the general fund. And so by switching those around, we were able to recover some good amount of money into the general fund where it really belonged. So it's helpful to have a second pair of eyes on a lot of these things. And also, I'm just I keep discovering little inconsistencies in what I've done through the months, and I'm trying to iron those out so that it would be consistent for any. And one of the big factors that MAT is always pushing is succession, and I have that in my mind that I want to have documented so that whenever the time comes for someone to take over for me.
You're not going anywhere, Doug.
Neither are you, Tom.
That says the guy bailing out, right? Anyway, yeah, that's all I need to say on that.
Does anybody have any questions for Doug? Or any comments about Doug's performance other than that are complimentary? Is there anything?
Well, I mean, I know there's other things too. We've got, I'm sorry, I just got to keep doting on with getting the website up and running. Again, keeping everything going with COVID. I know we haven't always gotten the agenda posted to the website when we'd like to. But, keeping that moving and in the right direction and keeping all these plates spinning with all this new development. Again, I can't thank him enough for what he's done. So thank you, Doug.
Yep. I would entertain a motion to increase his hours and increase the township's hours if that is what somebody wishes to or desires.
Can we make that motion, or does does that, if we're gonna open the town hall for an extra day, do we have to get that approved at the annual meeting? Uncharted territory for me again, I apologize. But can we just, do we have that authority to do that, or what do we have? What's the procedure on that?
I'm sure that that's within our authority to set the hours.
Well, then I would make the motion to up Doug's hours, 7 hours, and have the town hall open Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. What was it, 8:30 to 3:30, Doug, is what the current hours are?
Yes, and if you don't mind, can we make that effective January?
Yeah.
What year? starting 22.
2020.
Yeah, no, I'm all in favor of that, yeah.
So Dan, can I amend that to say, let's just, instead of capping it at 7, just as long as he keeps it under 30? Because if it's 21, it'd be 28 hours. So if he puts an extra, are you okay with that?
Yeah, I'm fine with that. So have his hours, maximum of 30 hours a week, and the town hall will be open 4 days a week for 28 hours. I'm fine with that.
I'd second that motion.
Motion has been made and seconded to open the town hall for Monday through Thursday, 8:30 to 3:30, and cap Doug's hours at 30 hours per week. Is there any discussion?
We do have the discussion of, well, no, that's something separate with his a medical that's still available to him. So that's just part of his normal pay, but I don't know that he's been taking it. Is that something that's going to change, Doug? Did anybody hear me?
I heard you.
I can hear you, Bill.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd have to figure out how to do that. But I think
So we don't need to change anything there for you then.
it's supposed to be about $50 a month for that.
But at this point, we're not looking at changing any of that anyhow, right? I didn't hear anything about that. Okay.
That is still available and up to $150 a month. Right?
Yeah.
Is there any further discussion on Dan?
What was that?
No, I thought I interrupted you. Sorry.
Nope.
Okay. Is there any further discussion on the motion to town hall open Monday to Thursday from 8:30 to 3:30 and cap Doug's hours at 30 hours a week? Is there any further discussion? If there is no further discussion, we'll proceed to vote. Mr. Duden.
Aye.
Mr. Hiller.
Aye.
Mr. Stokel, aye. Mr. Whitcomb.
Aye.
Mr. Wilhelm.
Aye.
Motion's carried. I just have about a minute. First of all, we have to make sure we get our new equipment all insured. We should get that done as soon as possible so it's covered in case something should happen here. Also, at the annual Association of Township meetings, there were 5 resolutions passed. If anybody wishes to see what they are, they were really sketchy. I had a hard time figuring out heads or tails on them, but they're the township government aid resolution. There was a polling place flexibility resolution. There was an annexation resolution. There was an expanded representation on the watershed board, and there was a nuisance animal resolution. If anybody wishes to see those, they're all posted on MAT website, so you can see what the resolutions actually were. Is there any further business to come before the meeting?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I did see a caution and a suggestion.
I'm losing it.
Matt about the annual meeting, saying that if we're not able to do it in person, if we have to do it on this means, that it might be prudent to meet and then move to continue the meeting to a time when the meeting can be held in person. So that's just something to keep in mind for when we come to that time. If we're still under this skitsy situation that we're in now, how are we going to conduct that meeting?
With this new equipment, do we have capability of doing a remote kind of meeting, or is that not legal?
Oh, we do have that capability. We would have that capability. Question is that the wise way to do it? Is that the way the residents would want to do it?
I
So
would say
Matt,
it'd probably be in the best interest if we are still under COVID restrictions come March, we can make this decision in February, but if it doesn't look like it's gonna let up, I would say it'd be better off to postpone our annual meeting until we can do it in person. Otherwise, I do think we'll get some pretty serious feedback from the residents on that.
I agree. So we'll work through the logistics of this. So basically, we still have to have the annual meeting on the date, but then we just continue it is what we do right away. We open up and close it basically.
Open and continue, do not adjourn.
Okay, right.
Right. And in the past, we've never passed the budget and levy until last year. We finally were heads up enough that we were able to pass both at the annual meeting. In the past, we usually had to have a continuation in August, I believe it was. Anyway.
Food for thought for February.
Hey, is there any further discussion? Is there any other business for the meeting?
The snow blower that we discussed last month, is there any thoughts on that?
I thought you were supposed to get us some pricing on that. Weren't you supposed to get us some numbers and what it was going to cost, or are you talking the snow blower for the tractor?
No, the walk behind snow blower. I got a price from Mimbach and over in Sauk Rapids for $1,299 for the same machine that I'd been running out there myself that I bought last year. And as far as I'm concerned, it does the same job as a $2,500 machine for half the money. I mean, I've been very satisfied with the one that I bought, and it handles the load that I throw at it from the town hall. So,
didn't we authorize up to a certain amount?
Yeah, I thought we authorized up to 1,700.
No, I thought we actually just left it and he was going to get pricing for us.
That's kind of how, because initially I asked for 1,500 to work with on it, and when I started checking prices on it, I found the best machine for the money, and like I say, that particular machine, I would stack it up against a $2,500, $3,000 machine all day long, and it performs really well. So I wouldn't have a factor with doing it. The one that I bought last year has been a very good machine, and I don't think we'd be sorry for buying it.
How much was it again,
And
Kenny?
that's $12.99.
$12.99, yep.
I move that you go forward and purchase that snow blower.
Second.
That's good. Because that,
And second
the price
by-
is only good till about towards the end of December, they start going up on those, so their promotion is good for $12.99 right now.
And that's seconded by who?
Dan Hiller.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded to have Ken go forward with purchasing that snow blower for $12.99 at Menards, or Minbox, I'm sorry.
Mimbach.
What's that?
Yeah, Mimbach, that's correct.
Do we have to make
Yes,
the
move on.
location part of the motion? If he's, I mean,
Well, the way they generally sell them, if you buy it online, you have to have it shipped to a place that actually has a loading dock and has a cleared facility for them to drop it off. Otherwise, you end up paying extra freight. But Mimbach is a DR dealer, and their price is the very same as what I could buy it online for. And then I've got somebody standing behind me on it that they're the ones that sold it, and they service if I need service. So I just feel it's a better way of buying it. You keep it local and the price is the same. We're not paying any freight, and
no,
you know,
that's fine. I just didn't want to get us into a pickle here for some reason you bought it from somewhere else, because we said in the motion you had to buy it at Mimbach. That's all I was getting at.
well, no, it doesn't make it. They gave me a written quote on it at $12.99, but they're online all day long at $12.99.
Okay, thank you.
Is there any further discussion? If not, we'll proceed to vote. Mr. Duden. We'll try Mr. Hiller.
Aye.
Stokel, aye. Mr. Whitcomb,
Aye.
Mr. Wilhelm.
Aye.
Motion is carried. We will direct you to go forward and purchase that. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Is there any other business to come before the meeting? If not, there's a magic word I could listen to.
Make the motion to adjourn.
Beat you, Bill.
10:42.
I
10:42,
there are
all
two people. I'll take Mr. Hiller first, Mr. Whitcomb a second.
Oh, jeez.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, no. Motion's carried. We are adjourned. Thank you.
Good night. Thank you.
Merry
Good night,
Christmas.
gentlemen.
Good
Good night.
night. Thank you.
Release you from your prison.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I felt like a prisoner. Yeah, that's why I went in a hurry at the end. Started blinking at me and telling me